welcome to my channel. My name is Catalina and I'm the person behind By Catalina Designs, and in this video we have a tutorial for the mosaic sweater. I called it Medley Sweater because of this one, because I was inspired that I mixed so many colors and so many fibers, not so many but still and in the end I end up with a beautiful sweater. This is my favorite one, in which I used scrap leftover skeins, and this one is the one that you will see in the tutorial with the durable comfy microfiber acrylic yarn. What weight of yarn you will need? You will need sport weight yarn, as I used in this one, or why not DK weight yarn, it will work perfectly fine as well. For this one I use mostly DK weight cotton, but I had also sport weight cotton. I had also DK acrylic in it. So it's a mix of fiber, and at some point I used even medium weight yarn, but try to not use medium weight too often, so maybe only one stripe over here, because otherwise it will get heavier than it should. And you will need a 5mm crochet hook for the sweater and the 4mm crochet hook for the ribbings, cuff ribbings. In this tutorial we will have you will learn how to make the gauge swatch, because this is worked in overlay mosaic crochet, alternating 1 by 1 stitch, and to have an accurate gauge it is better to work the gauge swatch into the mosaic sweater. And I will show you how to make the swatch into a flat piece, because this you will need to work only on the right side. Into the written pattern you will also find my gauge, my tension for a regular double crochet swatch. The idea is that if you're getting that gauge, you might have better there are chances to reach the same gauge into the mosaic crochet, but I won't rely on that. I think it's better to try into the stitch pattern as well. We will work the gauge, then we will start working on the sweater. We will start with the yoke. It's a round yoke, starting with a number of stitches for the neckline. Then we will have some increases rounds to reach the end of the yoke, which will combine the bust and the sleeves circumference. After that we will splitting into sleeves and body, and we will continue working on the length as much as we desired. So this will be the steps that we will follow, but I will start after explaining you the gauge, I will start talking a bit about the yoke. I think I will have a different tutorial with how to calculate the yoke for the mosaic sweater, because this is an interesting thing to do if you want to adjust the pattern according to your own measurements and needs. So I will put that video as well. It was too much to explain it into the same video, so I will have another video for that. I think we can start it. Grab your yarn and let's make the mosaic sweater. We will start now with the gauge, and I'm using a 5mm crochet hook, and I will use 2 of the colors that I want to use into the sweater. And I will start by chaining 21 stitches. You can chain as many stitches as you want. As bigger is better, because in this way you will have a more accurate gauge measurements. And after chaining into the same color, we will start into the second stitch and single crochet across. After finishing the first row in single crochet, we will pull out the loop, the working loop, and you can use a stitch marker to secure this loop and make sure that your round won't unfold. And now we will start from the right, from the beginning of the row, so we are not turning. Insert the hook into the first stitch, grab the other color, pull it through that first stitch and pull out a loop, chain one, and we will work the first stitch as a regular single crochet. But starting with the second stitch, we will single crochet into the back loop only. Before finishing the row, so when we have one stitch left, we need to grab that working loop into the cream color as well. So we will insert the hook as for a regular single crochet, yarn over, and pull out a loop. Then insert the hook through the cream color working loop, the one that you let it at the end of the previous row, yarn over and finish the single crochet. And now it's time to pull out this loop, make it bigger, use a stitch marker to secure it. And then we will need to grab the cream working yarn, which is in the left, and grab it at the beginning of the row. Bring it at the beginning of the row. Try to let this yarn looser so you won't have the fabric, your gauge, curling. And insert the hook into the first stitch and pull out a loop. Now we will chain one and work a regular single crochet into that first stitch, and then we will start with the mosaic crochet pattern. So work a double crochet into the front loop of the corresponding stitch into the row of the same color. The next stitch, work a single crochet into the back only. Then again, double crochet into the front loop, into the same color row, and single crochet into the back loop only. And we will alternate the stitches until the last stitch of the row. When we are about to work the last stitch, we will work it as a regular single crochet. So insert the hook, yarn over and pull out a loop. Take the previous working loop and put it on the hook. Yarn over and finish the single crochet, the last single crochet. Now make the loop longer, secure it with a stitch marker. And now it's time to bring the linen color or the beige color working yarn to bring it at the beginning of the row. The same, you don't need to pull to tie, so let that strand in the back looser. pull it through the first stitch. I like to stretch the fabric, the row, so make sure that it's okay into the back. We're working the first stitch as a single crochet, and then I have double crochet, then I work a single crochet into the back loop only. The next stitch I will go into the front loop, into the same color row below, and then repeat single crochet into the back loop, double crochet into the front loop, into the same color row below, and we will repeat to the end of the row. I think you already know what to do with the last stitch, and we will alternate these stitches or these stitches and these rows until we have a square. So our gauge swatch is big enough to be able to measure the rows and the stitches into a 10 centimeter square. Let's do again the last stitch. So I'm pulling the stitch marker off, I'm taking it off, then insert the hook into the last stitch, pull up a loop, take the working loop, yarn over and pull it through. Now we will put a stitch marker into this loop. We will bring the cream color yarn at the beginning of the row and keep repeating until we will finish the gauge swatch. Before starting working on the yoke, I want to explain a few things. You saw into the image before that we have a number of increase rounds for each size. For example, for this size that I'm making extra small, I will have 2 increase rounds and I will increase with 40 stitches on each round. Now, the idea is that you can place those increases rounds at any point into your yoke. I have 16 rounds for the yoke. So for the beige color, I decided to place the increase round into the first round of the yoke and then into the 9th. So I split the yoke into 2 equal parts and I increase at the beginning of each of those 2 sections. In this method, because I was increasing right into the first round, and because after the ribbing we have also a single crochet round with increases, this will curl your fabric a bit. But in the end, after working the next rounds without increasing, the fabric will start to lay flat. On the second sample, I decided not to increase into the first round after the ribbing, but to work a few rounds, more exactly 5, without increases, and then I place the increase round, the first one, at round 6. Then I worked again 5 rounds without increasing and placing into the 12th round the next increase rounds, and finish the yoke, of course, with the remaining rounds without increasing. So into the both ways of working the yoke or placing the increase pattern will have the same result. So you will have the same number of stitches at the end of the yoke, but into the first one this will curl a bit at the beginning, so I wanted to let you know about that. That is perfectly fine to happen so. And into the second one you don't have to look for a perfect circle, because it won't be. At some point you'll need to fold it into half, and you'll have kind of a boat shape for the yoke, but it won't lay flat as a perfect circle. So any method you want to use. Into the written pattern I wrote it as the second version, the one with colorful, with having those 3 smaller section and with the 2 increase rounds into the middle. And this is how I wrote the pattern, because I personally prefer this method. But into the video you will find the first version, and but any way that you decide to make it, it will be perfect. You only need to place those increase rounds into the yoke, and you'll end up with the same number of stitches at the end. And like a tip, how I proceeded with the second version is that I started to work the rounds normally without increases, and when I saw that the edges are lifting, then this is the sign that you need to add those increases to the yoke. So I hope that this information is useful for you to help you decide on how to make the yoke. Any of the method will be perfectly fine. So now let's start working on the neckline ribbing. So for the neckline ribbing we will use 4mm crochet hook, and you can make it as wider as you wish. I will chain 9, and then starting with the second stitch we will single crochet into each of the 8 stitches. Then chain 1 and turn. I like the edges to work them as a regular single crochet through both stitches. So I will work 1 single crochet and then 1 single crochet into the back loop only until the last stitch. And I will work the last stitch through both loops. Chain 1 and turn, and we will repeat row 2 until we will have in total, in my case, 110 rows. After finishing 110 rows, I will join the ends of the ribbing, and to do so I will use slip stitches. And we will join the ends to make a circle. Now we will turn on the right side, and we can change the hook size into the 5mm crochet hook, or you can use to work this row with the 4mm crochet hook as well. I will change it. And on this first row, you will have to increase with 10 stitches. So for every size, you will increase with 10 stitches, which means that every 11th stitch up to size 3 extra large will be an increase. And for size 4 extra large and 5 extra large, every 13th stitch will be an increase, working 2 single crochet into the same stitch. And a stitch counts as a side row from the ribbing. And now the 11th stitch will be an increase, and I will work 2 single crochet into the same stitch. And then I will repeat all around, working 10 single crochet and 1 increase to the end of the round. After finishing the round, we will join, and we will use the invisible slip stitch, pull out the hook, and insert the hook into the back loop only of the first stitch from back to front, then grab the working loop and pull it through. And now it's time to change the color into the second color that you want to use for the yarn. In the description you will find a few details about the colors and how many colors I used, but you'll work each section of the sweater with 2 colors, so 2 colors only. So now we will start our second round, which I want to say that there are setup rounds, and we will work single crochet into the back loop only in each stitch around. To close the round, we will pull out the hook, insert the hook from back through front only into the back loop, then pull the working loop through. And now grab the cream color yarn, so the first color that you used, and we will change the color. And now we will start to work the Mosaic Crochet pattern, and at this round we will also work the first round of increases. If you want to place the increases round later on, then you will have to keep repeating the beginning stitch pattern. So for the first stitch, I'm going into the front loop only, into the corresponding stitch, meaning the first stitch into the round of the same color, and this is my first stitch. Then for the second stitch, I will work into the back loop only, a single crochet, and you can look in the back and see what stitch have you skipped with the double crochet, and then work the single crochet in the back loop into the next one. So now we have 2 stitches. If you decided to place the increased stitches later on, then You simply alternate these 2 stitches, and you can watch this round again at the moment where you need to place the increase. So every increase will be into the 6th stitch, and I will work 3 single crochet into the back loop only into the same stitch. Then I will repeat again, alternated double crochet front loop with single crochet back loop for the next 5 stitches, and into the 6th stitch we will increase again by working 3 single crochet into the same back loop. So now the next stitch will be an increase, and I will work 3 single crochet, and we will repeat the section to the end of the round. To close the round, we will have to do the last increase into the last stitch, so 3 single crochet into the back loop only, and we will close the round with the same invisible slip stitch. Again, as I said into the information for the yoke, we will count only the surface round. So, and into the same color. You're not, if you decide to count the cream color, then only the surface stitches into the cream color. So now we change into the beige color, and we will start to work the stitches as they are. So I started with the single crochet into the back loop only, and then I will go into the front loop of the stitch at the round into the same color, so 1 round below or 2, and when we are getting at the increase, we are going to work a double crochet into that front loop, then into the 2nd stitch of the increase we will work a single crochet into the back loop, and then going again into the front loop, the same front loop, and work a double crochet. And this is how we worked on the top of the increase, and we will repeat until the end of the round. Okay, so now we will close this round and we will change the color again. And as I wrote it into the written pattern, I call this R1A, so the first color in cream color with the increases, and this was the round R1B. So basically we worked 2 rounds into the mosaic pattern, but we are counting only 1. So now we are starting with the round 2B, and it will be a tricky part with the increases as well on this one. So I want to show you. So now we are starting with a double crochet into the front loop of the stitch on the same color round, and we will work the stitches alternating double crochet front loop, single crochet back loop until we are getting to that increase. And on the increase, we will work the first single crochet into the back loop, and then you need to find that front loop of the stitch into the correspondent color row that lays between those two double crochet that you worked into the previous round. So make sure that you're not skipping that stitch. And we will keep repeating to the end of the round. Now we will close the round with the same slip stitch as we did until now. Now we're about to work the round 2B, so in the beige color, and now the stitches are visible. All those increases are looking as normal stitches right now, so it started to be easier. So now all you have to do is to keep alternating these stitches and these rounds until you have 8 rounds in total. At round 9 we will start to increase again, and we will count, as I said, only the surface stitches. Okay, so I worked the rounds, 8 rounds in total. And now we're about to work again the second increase round, and it has to be a cream round as well, because it needs to start with a double crochet, because we want to make those increases as a single crochet into the back loop, and you need to start with a double crochet to end up with the increase with a single crochet. So now I'm starting, we will increase again. We will have 20 sections again. We now, after the first increase round, we have 160 stitches. So now we will have every 8th stitch will be an increase. So now we will work into the established pattern for the next 7 stitches. And into the 8th stitch we will do the increase. And we will repeat the section to the end of the round, so 7 stitches into the established pattern and 1 increase. The repeated section will be repeated 20 times or up to the end of the round. Okay, this was the second increase round and the last one. So now we will have to repeat the same what we did, the rounds that we made after the increase rounds. We need to repeat them. This was row number 9, and we will work in total for the yoke section 16 rounds. So we have now 7 more rounds to work, but I will work only up to round 13 using these two colors, and starting with round 14 I will introduce the third color or the next color that I will want to use. Now you can find in the description details about the colors and some tips on how to divide the sections per color, and also you'll find them into the written pattern. So now I will continue to work up to round 13, and then I will show you how to change the colors. Okay, I finished 13 rounds, and now we will introduce a new color. So I'm cutting the cream color, but I do think that I had to use it instead of this beige, because these two colors are not that contrasting, and you cannot see better the mosaic crochet pattern. But anyway, I will rely on you that you'll have a better color choices than I did. So now I will work the next round into the same beige color to make the transition. So now the beige color will become the color A. And then on the next round, we will rejoin the pink color. So now we are alternating the double crochet front loop with single crochet back loop, but using the beige color. Now after finishing the round, we will close the round with the same slip stitch as we did until now, and we will connect the pink color yarn. So the last round that we worked, it was the round number 14A, and now we are working the number 14B. So we have 2 more rounds to work until we will finish the yoke. And starting with this round, with round 14, we will continue to work into this color for 13 rounds as well, but we will have to work for the yoke only up to round 16. Now that we finished the yoke section, we will start with the separating round. We will divide the yoke into sleeves and body, and we will start from where our yarn is, and the first stitches that we will work will be the back panel stitches. And I will work for my size into the established pattern for the first 64 stitches. You saw into the image before what stitches you will have, how many stitches to make for each section, and according to the size that you are working. So now I will continue to work into the established pattern for 64 stitches. Now after finishing the back panel stitches, we will chain 6 and we will skip the sleeve stitches. For my size, the sleeve stitches will be 36. So I'm counting the sleeve stitches. You can use stitch markers to mark them even before starting to work on this step. So I will chain 6, And then I will start into the, after skipping the 36 stitches, we will start working into the established pattern for the front panel stitches. And for the front panel stitches, we will have the same number of stitches as for the back panel, which is 64. After finishing the front panel stitches, we will work 6 stitches again for the second armpit. And then we will skip the sleeve stitches. You should have the same number of stitches as the first sleeve. And we will join with the same slip stitch into the first stitch. And now we will need to work the next round, but it will be I will work with you for the next couple of rounds because I want to show you how to work the armpit stitches. So now we will continue to work up to the armpit stitch into the established pattern. When we are getting at the armpit stitches, I will work the last stitch of the back panel here, and then into the armpit stitches we will work single crochet stitches, but I will work them into the back loop, so that bump that is like the third loop of the chain that is on the back, and we will work the single crochet stitches into that loop. This will help us when working the sleeve to have a more compact chain or stitches at the armpit. So we will work those 6 stitches in single crochet but into the third loop. I still have one more here. And after finishing with the armpit stitches, we will continue into the established stitch pattern up to the second armpit stitch, armpit chain, and we will proceed the same with that one. Now after finishing the round, we will change the color again. This is how the armpit chain is looking, and we will work into the established stitch pattern up to the armpit again. And I will show you how this second round of the body, how we will work the stitches at the armpit. So we got at the armpit stitches, and we will work single crochet into the back loop only. So this is how on this round the armpit stitches will be worked as a single crochet into the back loop. After finishing the armpit stitches, we continue into the established stitch pattern up to the next armpit stitches, the next armpit chain, and we will work them the same into the back loop only as single crochet. Now we finish with this round, and now basically we have the setup stitches to work at the armpit the same stitch pattern as the mosaic stitch pattern. So now we are simply continuing our stitch pattern, alternating the stitches as they are. So I started with a single crochet into the back loop because my last stitch before the armpit chain was a double crochet. And now I will keep alternating the stitches as they are. That is why it's important to keep an even number of stitches at the armpit. And this is because we had an even number of stitches for the sleeves. And this is how the armpit is looking right now. Now we will keep working for the length. I will work 13 rounds in total in this combination of colors, and then after 13 rounds I will keep the pink and I will change with my fourth color. I will change the beige with my fourth color. How to change color, you saw it. Into the last section we will work again 13 rounds. And this is how it's looking right now after finishing the entire body. And we are about to work the ribbing. Before starting to work on the ribbing, we have the last round to work in this so-called caramel color, and it will be a bit different than a regular round because we won't work the single crochet stitches only into the back loop, but through both loops. We don't need the front loop to be visible because we won't have any other round to work. So that is why we can work the single crochet stitches not only into the back loop but through both loops. Then after finishing this round, we will start working on the ribbing. Right now you can see that I have the sleeves finished as well because I worked this ribbing in the end, because at the beginning I was doing it a bit shorter, so not that wide. But I wanted to make it as wide as for the sleeves, so you will have to chain 11. And for the bottom hem ribbing, we will use a 4mm crochet hook. And then after chaining, start with the second stitch and single crochet into each of the following stitches, which will be 10. And then when we are getting at the bottom edge, we will slip stitch into the next 2 stitches of the body edge. First slip stitch is to connect the current ribbing round, and the second slip stitch has a roll as the turning chain. So now you will have to skip those 2 slip stitches and then start working into the back loop only, except the last stitch. As a personal preference, I like that edge stitch to work it through both loops and not only through the back loop. Then we will chain 1 and turn. The first stitch will be a single crochet through both loops, and then single crochet into the back loop only until we're getting at the edge. And then we will slip stitch into the next 2 stitches of the body edge. Then turn, skip the 2 slip stitches, and we will keep repeating this 2 ribbing rows until we finish the entire circumference of the body. After finishing the ribbing, it's time to join the ends, and we will use again slip stitches. I'm making sure that I'm turning on the wrong side, and then you'll need to insert the hook through both sides of the ribbing and work slip stitches to join the 2 pieces together. Now cut the yarn, and the body is finished, and we will move forward to the sleeves. We will now start working on the sleeves, and you need to rejoin the color that needs to be used next. So in my case it will be the beige color, and we will rejoin the yarn into the middle stitch at the armpit. I have 6 stitches, so I will rejoin the yarn into the 3rd stitch. And because we worked the body stitches into that back loop, you have now the V showing on the armpit stitches, and you'll need to work through both loops. And we will start with working into the first 3 stitches, which are the armpit stitches, single crochet stitches. Then we have the side row of the body, and I'm looking at the first stitch from the sleeve, which is a double crochet into the front loop. So then into the side stitch of the body row, I will work 2 single crochet together just to make that corner and avoid having a gap. And then we will continue working the stitches into the established stitch pattern until we will get into the next corner, into the next join where sleeves meet the body. So here again we will work the last stitch of the sleeve, which was a single crochet, and then I'm counting the 3 armpit stitches. So this here I will have to work again stitches together into the side stitch of the body row. And if your stitch is too wide, you can work even 3 stitches together just to close that gap as much as possible. And then we will continue working the last 3 stitches of the armpit with single crochet. Now we will close the round as usual. I know that I'm using a different brand crochet hook, but it's the same size. It's a 5mm crochet hook, so you don't have to change the hook size. Now I'm grabbing the pink color yarn to rejoin that color. So we will rejoin the pink color yarn. Now for the next round, to make a smooth transition into between sleeve and body, I'm going to look at the first stitch of the sleeve, in which I have already the stitch pattern, and I'm looking that I need to work a single crochet into the back loop. So now I'm counting to see what stitch I will need to work as the first stitch, so counting back from there. So my first stitch will be a single crochet into the back loop, and then for my second stitch I will go with a double crochet, but I'm going to into basically the body stitch into that loop that I can see over there. If this is becoming too loose, and being the armpit, this needs to be really like a dance fabric, because this will stretch quite a lot, I'm trying to go as a front post double crochet, but this will work as well. Now the next stitch will be a single crochet into the back loop, and now I'm about to work on top of those stitches that I worked them together, and I need to work a double crochet again, and I'm going to find a loop in which I can anchor that stitch, and then I'm going to work into the established pattern, and let's see how we work into the other side. Okay, so now we are into the other side. We worked the last stitch of the sleeve, and it was a double crochet. So now I will need to work a single crochet into the back loop. Then for the last 3 stitches of the armpit, I will look for that loop in which I can anchor the double crochet stitch, then a single crochet, and as I can see over here, I have one more stitch to go, and somehow I'm ending with a double crochet as well, and I need to end with a double crochet because I started the round with a single crochet. So I'm working the previous single crochet through both stitches, so that I will be able to end the round with a double crochet. If you don't have the same situation and your stitches are perfectly fine not to work them together, and your pattern is ending correctly, then you don't need to do that. And now for the next row, I will go into the front loop of the single crochet that we did at the beginning of the sleeve. The single crochet into the back loop, it's easy to find. And we will start to work into the established stitch pattern to the end of the round. So now we can say that our stitches are into the required pattern to continue working on the sleeve length. And now let's see how we finish this row. So now I'm going with the double crochet into that front loop. I try to do my best to make this transition as smoother as possible, but if you have any other ideas while working on the sleeve, you are welcome to experiment and even share your thoughts in the comment or how you did it. Because at that point, while I was working on the sleeve, this was the best method that I could find. So now we will continue working on the sleeve. I will continue working into these colors for 13 rows. I'm seeing a gap over here, which I don't like. So now I will try to go through both loops to make this double crochet anchored better. And as I said, I will continue to work into these two colors until I will have 13 rounds, counting the rounds from the yoke as well. So we had 2 rounds into the yoke, so we will have 11 more rounds to work using these 2 colors, and then we will change the color and bring this caramel color or brownish color into place. And for the body, we worked for 13 rounds with each color section, but for the sleeve, the last section will be longer because we need to work more rounds. So we will work in total into the last set of colors 19 rows. This means that we will have 11 rows for the first set of colors and 19 rows for the second set of colors. And if my math is correct, this will mean that we will work 30 rows for the sleeve. But of course, you can work as many rounds as you need until you reach the desired length of the sleeve. And after finishing the sleeve, let me show you the second one. So this is the section with 13 rounds, and this here I worked 19 rounds. And then you will add the ribbing in the same way as we did for the body, also with a 4mm crochet hook and also with 10 stitches wide, the ribbing. And after finishing one sleeve, you will need to wear the second into the same way. Now, this step is totally optional. I'm working on the collar ribbing, and you can work on all the ribbings. I'm using a 4mm crochet hook, and I kind of not liking the edge that much. So with the 4mm crochet hook, I rejoin the yarn and I will work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. And when I'm saying stitch, means into each side row. And then after completing this round, I will slip stitch, chain 1, and then I will slip stitch into each stitch around. This will help to make this edge of the collar more strong, and it's looking nice as well. So after finishing the round, you will slip stitch into the first stitch and you can cut the yarn. And you can repeat the steps on all the ribbings if you like, on the sleeves and on the bottom hem, if you like how it's looking. I really think that it's really functional for the neckline because this yarn is stretching quite a lot. So in this way, I'm kind of helping the collar to be more stable and not to stretch that much. So with that, I think we finished the sweater, and I hope you like this tutorial. Like I said, it will be another video about how you can calculate the stitches for the yoke in case you want to use a different yarn, or if you want to change the fit of the sweater, or if you want to wear the sweater according to your own measurements. So thank you so much for watching. Once again, I worked into each color 13 rounds. And if you want to calculate how many rounds, using your gauge at the beginning, you will decide how many rounds you will need for your length, for the entire length of the sweater, and then divide that number by 3 and see how many rounds you will have for each section of colors. This ribbing over here is the small one, the one that I did at the beginning, but in the end I changed it and I made it wider of about 10 stitches, the same as I did for the cuffs. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I can't wait to share with you more tutorial. This was an interesting design. It was something new for me as well, and I hope you like it. Thank you. Bye.